Guest info saved. Pop out unified chat. Says it's connected.
All sounds good.
So far. No, it won't connect.
Huh.
Or at least it's not showing up. Oh, there it is. All right. So it showed back up on YouTube. And it looks like we're back on Twitch.
Okay.
So I guess.
Facebook?
I don't know.
Facebook the one that screwed us?
Maybe. I don't know what happened there. That's what I get for trying to do fancy transitions and stuff, even though I didn't use any of the software that I was using anyway. Let's see here. All right, whatever. Okay, whatever. Let me close these. I don't need to have.
Oh, there it is. It's we're live again on the Facebook.
The Facebook. So sorry about that, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Camera over a little bit here. See how that looks.
So I guess we're probably just gonna have to start that review over.
Whatever.
Oh, weird.
Oh, the delay's a lot shorter now on Facebook, I think.
Well, it's not actually opening up on Twitch. It's just like black screen. And here's the thing. Okay, so here's the thing. I recently upgraded my internet. I got the gigabyte internet through Fios. And since I've done that, I've had more problems with my internet.
Huh.
Since I upgraded the speed to gigabyte internet. I'm like, well, if we're going to be doing a lot of live streaming, let's get the fastest thing we can. And I've had more issues with it since then. Never had issues before.
Weird.
Yeah, it's real weird. And like, so like, it should be like lightning fast, and it's not. Like, I mean, it says it is. I got into not an argument, but I called Verizon and was like, hey, I just upgraded my internet. I'm supposed to be getting the gigabyte. I understand that, I might not be getting full gigabyte a second speeds, but I am doing the speed test.
Right.
I'm getting less than half that on every speed test I do, except for the Fios speed test, which is telling me I'm getting gigabyte speeds, but
shitty.
Speedtest.net is not. I did the Xfinity one. I did the AT&T one.
Right.
I don't know, man. It's just bizarre. Like,
huh.
So now I'm looking at the Twitch stream, and it's like frozen.
Weird.
Yeah, it's super choppy now too. Like when we did the War on Women thing last week, I noticed that the Twitch video feed was garbage.
Well, here's the question. I mean, your download speed will be gigabit, but what's your upload speed supposed to be?
Whenever I do this, now that I hardwired, I've been essentially operating on only Wi-Fi for a while. Like I didn't have any computers hardwired, so I have my main Mac. My iMac is now Etherneted in, and I get like 938 up and like 980 something down. So they're both like very close.
Wow.
But like I'm looking at Twitch and it keeps freezing.
So here's something. The president's campaign says it has filed a lawsuit trying to halt the vote count in Michigan. The fuck is that?
What?
Right. That's exactly what my brain is doing. It's trying to eat itself.
What?
I don't know. Let me click through and see, because this sounds like some authoritarian bullshit right here.
Is that on the OAN network?
No, it's actually on it's always asking for my location. WCVB Channel 5, ABC in Boston.
ABC in Boston.
Overnight, Trump took a White House stage and falsely claimed he'd won and vowed to take his case to the Supreme Court. Although there was no evidence of foul play, just votes yet to be counted. So he's way ahead of himself there.
Yep.
Biden responded to the indecision at an outdoor speaking venue near his home. His message: we're going to have to be patient. There's a timeline here. So right now it says 248 for Biden and 214 for Trump because they called Wisconsin for him, for Biden.
I saw that. All right. So are YouTube looks like it's working great. That looks super clear. Twitch, for whatever reason, it keeps freezing. I don't know what the deal with that is. And Facebook, I don't actually have that open. All right, looks like we're live.
So here's the thing.
Okay, I'm listening.
He's filing. This is what I'm assuming. Biden is going to win Nevada with 6 electoral votes. And then if he wins Michigan, he's at 270 and he wins. So Pennsylvania, Georgia, and South Carolina won't matter in this whole thing. That's why he's filed the lawsuit, to stop Michigan from counting its votes so he can possibly win that and stop Biden's advance.
How is that legal?
It's not.
Like,
it's not. He remember, Trump files lawsuits the way, like, I don't know, I buy Funko Pops and Star Wars figures haphazardly.
Haphazardly. So, I like that.
I mean, look behind me. Let me do a little up there. You can see I have some Star Wars figures and Funko Pops, right? Just a few. Really, I'll wait for you to take a look.
I'm sorry. Let's go. Hang on. I don't have you in front of me because I have so many fucking windows open trying to fix. Oh, that's not the one I want either. Hang on. Let me get the zoom window. Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot. But also, let me get the camera over here. There's all these here on this shelf. There's all these in the corner. I have a life-size one over there. So, like, what I'm saying is Trump needs to calm the fuck down. He's going to lose because he's a piece of shit. No, he's going to lose because the numbers aren't for him. And what they're saying about Georgia is that they're waiting on the large urban, like, city centers to finish their voting.
Well, yeah, because they said the main reason that a lot of their voting hadn't come through yet was because so many people brought their mail-in ballots and dropped them off in person because they were afraid they wouldn't get there, because I guess a lot of them got mailed very late.
Yeah, but if they receive them by election day, and that's what I actually watched what the governor of Georgia said. I watched a press conference from another state, and he said every legal vote will be counted, which sounds shady, but I mean, I'm sure it's for, you know, foreseeable Trump lawsuits. Right. For him to say every legal vote is probably a good thing for him to lean back on later. So, yeah. And the funny thing about it, too, is we have all these little states, like little by size, right? Mm-hmm. Delaware, New Jersey, New York is relatively little compared to, like, you know, Texas, California, Montana, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. They're all little, but so many people live up here.
Right.
So many. So it looks like a tiny amount goes blue, not counting California, with 55 electoral votes, which is
right. But still, even that's still not fair when you really think about it, because Biden got something like 9 million. I don't know the exact number, but something like 9 million votes in California, and Trump got like 5 million. And that amount of people is greater than like the total number of votes in like 38 of the other states, like combined or something like
all
that.
The little ones, all the little population ones. Montana, North and South Dakota, Wyoming, Nebraska, they all have a smaller population. Idaho, that whole section, it's all farmland. Basically, it's all like mountains and, you know, fruited plains and whatever you want to say. But right now, the amount of votes counted.
Fruited plains.
Yeah. From the song, 70 million 0.3 for Joey Boy, and 67 for Trump the Frump.
I'll tell you, I went to bed. I fell asleep last night, convinced Trump had won the election.
Me too.
I fell
Me
asleep.
too.
Like
Because then when you wake up in the middle of the night with your phone blowing up and you see, oh, Biden wins, you're like, oh, thank God. All right, that was just a horrible nightmare.
I'm still not convinced he's won.
No, well, he hasn't.
Yeah.
To be fair, no one has.
Right.
So
it's definitely looking better, but
yes.
I still just don't. I don't. After the last election we went through, and then seeing it play out the way that it played out last night, I almost feel like it's fate just like dangling a carrot in front of us. It's being like, boom, just kidding. He actually won by 27 percentage points. Like,
but here's the one little ray of hope that I have. I'm trying to burp, not into the microphone. Is that Arizona went to Joe, and Arizona in the last election went to Trump.
Well, for sure yet. They haven't announced that one. They haven't.
Oh, on this map, it has been, but yeah, I gotcha.
Right.
So, and Trump only leads by 2 points in Georgia, 1 point in North Carolina, but 8 points in Pennsylvania.
Well, Pennsylvania is the one where there's like 2 million votes still to be counted. So.
Yeah. So let's make it sunny in Philadelphia, people. Come on.
I know. Hey,
it's way too late to encourage them.
I'm sorry the Eagles suck. But
hey, they go Birds. They won the bowl.
Go Birds. They won the bowl. All right. I'm sorry. Let's get back to Scare Me. I know we're live. I don't know where it's working. I don't know whether we're going to get an audio version of this show out this week because everything is so weird right now. But so Scare Me, 2020 Shudder exclusive, hybrid weird version of what would be a anthology film without any of the films. It's a writer's thing. Both of these guys are writers. Chris, take it from there, bud.
You get a little bit of special effects storytelling here and there. And the great thing about that is when it happens, it's surprising and it's almost scary. Like let's be honest, no movies really scare us anymore. We can identify what parts are scary, but we don't feel it anymore, do we?
No, you're not wrong.
So there are some parts where it's like, oh, nice touch. and it really is the two of them just trying to one up each other. And then you find out that Aya Cash's character is like super famous. She wrote the definitive horror novel of the last decade, and everybody knows it. So the guy gets more and more jealous, and it just goes from there. And then it culminates as the story goes on. It culminates in a way that builds up, I think, as believable as you can get. And then it wraps itself up.
Yeah. What I really liked about this movie was how just simple it was. Like, what they just did was the director being the other main star. And usually we kind of, what was the movie we talked about a couple weeks? Oh, it was for the Throwdown, Turtle Island, where we talked about the director also being the star and producer and writer, like totally ruins the movie. This is the opposite. Whereas like him being the director and the writer actually helps carry the movie because he is so committed and so understands what he is doing and what his writing and what his storytelling is. He's able to act it out. And literally that's what they do. They're telling stories and then they're acting out the stories.
Yeah. But he was also, as an actor, capable of being a good guy. And then like, is he a piece of shit? I'm not sure. He would skirt the line of being questionable of character, and just enough for both of them actually to be like, I don't know who I'm supposed to like here, but they're both sort of likable. And that was pretty well done, as opposed to Turtle Island, where he's like, I'm just going to pretend I'm an animated turd.
Welcome to Turd Island.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love. I really like this movie, and I enjoyed the play between the two of them because it was flirtatious, but it wasn't like sexual in any way.
No,
So
yeah, it was flirtatious and also antagonistic at the same time.
right, and I could see it's funny too because I could see in her character at least a handful of female horror filmmakers that I know
Mm.
personally. Like I could see things in her and the way that she acted in people that I'm friends with, and I'm like, this is believable. And I also know a lot of horror writers and filmmakers that are guys that are white guys that are like my age too that we're dicks, you know,
Yeah.
like we think way higher of ourselves than we have any business doing.
Yeah, that was something else too that's really like low key is that she is a successful master of the genre and he still treats her like a fucking newbie.
Right. Well, and the whole idea is she got really big off of her what was it? Like first book it was supposed to be, wasn't it?
I'm not sure. But well, let's say yeah. But just because it's your first book doesn't mean you're not great at it right off the bat.
Right.
Uh,
Crazy.
yeah.
But otherwise, Chris, do you recommend and what is your grade for Scare Me, exclusively available on Shudder?
Yeah, I would recommend it because I did actually for realsy recommend it to you.
You did. Absolutely. 100%.
And I would give it a B+. I enjoyed it. At first I was like, oh, really? They're just going to sit there and talk to each other about scary stuff? But goddamn, if they didn't think of creative ways to keep the audience engaged.
For sure, man. For sure.
Yeah, I'm impressed. And I mean, I don't see how they can do another one of those.
Totally unrelated, but just to go with the 2020 thing, Mel just sent me this text message. Yes, my wife and I work from home, and she's just upstairs texting me. But
oh, that's what we do here too.
Yeah, I just picked up what I just picked up and ate what I thought was a piece of cheese off my plate, but it was actually just a pat of butter. No rules, 2020. I recommend Scare Me. Also, I'm giving it a pretty high recommend. Good chance this ends up on my end of year top 10 list. I really like this movie.
Oh, nice.
I don't know how much rewatchability it has. It's something I might visit again down the road, but it's not something I'm like, I need to watch this again, like right now.
Right.
But I really enjoyed it. I thought the two of them and the chemistry that they had, and I thought the acting from both of them was top notch. And then Chris Redd showing up to kind of break it up in the middle of it. And add some additional comedy to it. As unbelievable as it is that he would just like, as like the single pizza delivery man in the area, just like not just have like pizzas in the bag and just be like, oh, I was supposed to deliver this 2 hours ago, but I sat here and did cocaine with you instead.
Right. Well, she's famous and it's his favorite horror novel. So he was fanboying out, and
as well he should.
Yeah, and that really also went a long way to inciting our male writers' anger toward her too. So
for sure,
good job.
So that is Scare Me, available exclusively on Shudder. I binged a bunch of Shudder stuff. Did you watch the new Creepshow animated special?
Yes.
All right, let's talk about that. Creepshow animated special, again, Shudder original, Shudder exclusive, just released on. It came out on like what day before Halloween, right?
Yeah, it was real close. Yeah.
So it is obviously Creepshow, the original Creepshow, the single greatest horror anthology film of all time. I don't care what you say. If you tell me that it's not, you're wrong.
Okay.
Just putting that out there. So Shudder revived it as a series last year and did a 6 episode run with like 1 or 2 stories per episode. No, they were just single story episodes. And it's quite good. It's quite good. It's different enough from the original that you're not like, oh, well, they're just biting on it or whatever. But the stories are good. They're well written. The effects, obviously, it's Nicotero's the showrunner, and also K&B's behind all the effects. So the effects are great. They released this. I didn't even know this was coming out. I knew nothing about this. I don't know how long ago did they announce it that I just missed it?
Like 2 months.
2 months. Okay.
Is the first I heard of it.
The word was out on it. I just wasn't paying attention.
Yeah. We had other stuff happening.
Yep. So they released this animated short. Well, not really short because it runs almost 50 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
And
it's basically 2 half-hour episodes, so like 2 22-minute episode kind of things.
Exactly. So we have 2 stories, and again we said it's all animated, but it's animated in that comic book style.
Yes, motion comic
kinda stuff. So
which you get used to pretty quick.
Yeah, at first it's a little weird at first, but then as soon as you get into it, you're like, okay. The first one is a man that is stranded alone on a deserted island. He's determined to stay alive no matter what the cost. And the second is a teenager who's on a road trip who is live tweeting her road trip, and they end up at the Circus of the Dead. And the Circus of the Dead is very dead.
Yes.
So let's hit that first one, Stay Alive. Your main character, I don't remember what his name is, but he's a
Dick.
He's a yeah. He's a gifted surgeon, but also underhanded and works with like mafia guys, and does sports betting, and then also sells prescription drugs on the side. So he's basically that guy that's like super gifted and just wastes his gift doing crime.
Yeah.
So essentially the story opens up. He is stranded on this island. We know there's another dead body on the island with him. He's broken his ankle, and he's talking about how he's going to have to cut it off to stop the infection.
Mm-hmm.
Where does it go from there, Chris?
Downhill.
Very quickly.
First, I would like to say I understand why they animated these 2. They would have been, both of them would have been heavily dependent on special effects makeup. And that might have been too much for the budget. So I'm actually kind of glad we got to see the story for both of these in this way. It takes him a little while of throwing rocks at seagulls and eating them, and then getting disgusted with eating seagulls, for him to realize, I need to cut off my foot. There's enough powdered heroin over here, because he was smuggling drugs and the plane went down.
Because he basically tells throughout it, he tells the story of his rise and then his downfall. So he gets kicked out of being a surgeon and starts doing underhanded stuff, and he's in a plane crash coming back from like Thailand or something, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere over in Asia, and the plane crashes.
Yeah. And it's not even like a deserted island with like a palm tree. It's just like rocks and a little bit of nothing.
Yep.
So yeah, he chases the bird, he slips on the rocks, it gets stuck in between, cuts it open, breaks. And eventually he realizes he has to cut it off. And he's so low on food that we'll just cut right to it. He eats his foot.
Yep.
And then as the story goes on, he does the heroin to numb the pain. He can stitch himself up. He can stop the bleeding so he stays alive. And it goes on and on and on. And eventually, basically, he are we telling the whole thing here?
Yeah, I guess so.
He cuts a little bit more off his leg. He cuts a little bit more. He bites off his rotten fingers.
I feel like when you start watching this, you immediately know where it's going. There's no like.
Well, I thought he was going to eat the woman's corpse.
Well, he was. And then a storm came, and he wasn't able to save it.
Oh. Okay. Right. But like he doesn't. I mean, he spells out help with rocks, but that's it. I mean, he's screwed. He's basically dead. He is nowhere near where anybody can save him.
Right.
And it ends with him basically legless on the beach, eating parts of his body, knowing he's going to die.
Yeah, he's basically got no fingers and his legs are cut off at the hip.
Yeah.
And he's eating his fingers, and it's fucked up. It's effective for sure.
It was actually pretty disturbing.
Good sound design used in it. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, if the sound design was your generic chomping, it would have been like a joke.
Right, exactly. But no, it works good.
Yeah.
The second one, Circus of the Dead, is effective.
Sounds so stupid.
Sounds really dumb.
Yeah.
But there's things about it I loved and I hated. So your main character is a teen that's being forced on a cross-country road trip with her family. She talks about how she hates her mom and her dad sucks and her brother sucks. And
right. And we get this all through tweets.
All through
She's
Twitter.
like live tweeting the whole thing.
Yeah. Which is the thing is that's become such a thing now in so many different like genre things where it's like all about the technology and like it's like almost like Twitter. It's like this is a little late for what time period we're in, but it works. But I'll tell you the Twitter stuff. It got on my nerves quickly. Once they showed up to the circus, and like the idea that she was doing this, they made it seem like she had this big audience. But she's like at the beginning, she's like, I just started this new Twitter account and blah blah blah, and so it's like, well, no, why are you tweeting so much and why are you doing it so much? There's no real reason like, oh, I have this really big captive audience,
right,
or anything. So when things start to go bad, I'm kind of like, yeah, it's like when you watch a found footage flick and you're just like, okay, there's no reason why this person would still be filming. It's like,
right. I could understand if she actually switched from typing to filming,
right,
and doing a video log.
I said to my wife, because she was sitting next to me when I was watching it, and she's like, this is fucking stupid. And I'm like, hey, is Periscope still a thing? And she's like, I don't know.
What does that have to? I don't get it.
Because if Periscope was still a thing, she could be live streaming through Twitter, and I don't know if it is. I don't know if it is because I never used it because I don't use Twitter. So like,
yeah.
I mean, I use Twitter like so little that Periscope is not something like we are not currently broadcasting on the Periscope. So, but
okay.
like,
I didn't know the two were connected. So
yes, yeah. Well, Periscope is Twitter's live streaming function.
All right.
Or if it was like Instagram, where people do live streaming on Instagram all the time.
Right.
So it just kind of was like, okay, the technology that she's using, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. She was annoying, and like the idea, like I get that it's a comic one, and it's like this, it's very Tales from the Crypt or like old DC Comics type thing where it's just so ridiculous that there's this random like circus in the middle of the desert. And they go in there and like, there's just zombies and like all this stuff. And like, there's nobody, like they don't question it at any point.
No,
like,
no, because the father explains that it's all makeup and it looks really good. And she goes with the dad's opinion because she's not really thinking. She's just whatever.
Right. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't like it.
No,
not really.
I liked, aside from the tweeting, which essentially ended up being narration for the images.
Well, it's a device. It's a device.
Yeah. I did enjoy the idea that people go there and they think it's all fake until the shit hits the fan. I like the how it switches over from one person being the ringleader to the next, and it's a decent idea. And I understand using Twitter because the girl had a whole bunch of shit to say about her mother and the rest of her family that you couldn't really do out loud live streaming. So I was more interested to see where it ended up than how it's set up. And it was all right. It was all right. I did like the very end where someone, clearly the actual owner, gets her phone and tweets out that it was just a story and you should come check out the Circus of the Dead. Like, all right, at least they used that framing device for the story the whole way through.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't be tweeting if I was being attacked.
No. I would have been long gone. Like,
yeah.
So I guess then Creepshow animated special. Chris, recommend. What's your grade?
Yeah, I'll recommend it. I like Creepshow. I say support it, so we get more live action and animated stuff. And I give this a B-. The artwork was pretty good. I mean, anytime you try to do horror with tech, it's hit or miss, and this was, for me, more of a hit than a miss, but just barely.
Okay. I'm gonna recommend it. I agree with you. Watch the Creepshow stuff that they're doing. It's good. I think Nicotero and his effects company do great work.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like I would like to have more of this. I feel like they can definitely continue it going.
Mhm.
I split myself on the two of them, though. I liked the Stay Alive one quite a bit. Didn't particularly like Circus of the Dead. So I would give Stay Alive like a B, and I would give Circus of the Dead like a D. So I'm going to give it a straight C overall.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay.
So, Chris, give me something where we got a little bit of time left. Is something else that you've checked out that we haven't talked about yet?
Oh yeah, on Shudder I watched The Cleansing Hour.
Oh yeah, I think we talked about it a little bit, but I don't think we got into it
too
deeply.
If you didn't get to see it yet, I don't want to spoil anything because there's definitely a lot of plot development.
All right, yeah,
stuff
I'll watch that.
on.
I'll watch that this weekend so we can talk about it next week.
Okay. Scrolling through here, Random Acts of Violence.
Oh, I remember when I watched that, I really liked that.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I don't have strong thoughts one way or the other on that one. Let's see. Never Hike Alone.
I still have to watch that. I haven't had a chance.
I watched the Killer Queen, the Babysitter, Killer Queen, the sequel to the one with Samara Weaving.
How was that? Was it good?
I enjoyed it. It's a little more serious than Deep Murder, but it's still a comedy. Okay. You know what I mean?
I love Deep Murder.
I didn't at first, but I've come to appreciate that. Scrolling through here, I watched something called Suffer Little Children.
Oh, that's come on, that's from a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know what I rewatched, and I know you watched it a couple weeks ago, was the WNF Halloween special.
I just got to that on my scrolling. Yeah.
So I rewatched that. That was the secret screening on one of the throwdowns. Probably what was that? 2013. It came out. It would have been the year it came out. I think that's a great effective little faux documentary. It plays heavily on nostalgia. Very different than Ghost Watch, which is the British one. Because it plays so heavily on the nostalgia, and there's a lot of fake commercials, and but I really like that. I thought that was it held up. I hadn't watched it for a few years, but it definitely held up for me.
I watched something called Broil.
Did you go full broil?
No, you never go full broil. Broil follows a dysfunctional family of demons vying to control the future of their wealth. And that's all that you should know going into it, honestly. It was pretty interesting. And then I watched this humdinger of a movie called Dark October.
Dark October, okay.
Four friends are heading to Salem for a Halloween rock concert event. First off, where in Salem?
Halloween rock concert.
An unexpected detour takes them down a dark path, and the girls come face to face with the demon that could inevitably seal their fate. Okay. This looks like it was filmed on video. It's badly acted. It's badly shot. And it doesn't take place anywhere near driving distance to Salem.
Okay.
Pass.
I'm looking it up right now. Dark October.
So then after that, I watched Mockingbird, which is a found footage movie set in 95 where a bunch of people think they win a contest. So it's three different people's footage cut together. And one of them is told to dress up as a clown and do all these weird unrelated things. And the other two groups are told, do this or you will die. And the way it all comes together, I thought was pretty interesting. Overall, the movie's got a 4.1 on IMDb. It's about a C. It's about a 5.
All right. Okay. That's to me, that's worth checking out.
It's not a top of the list recommend, but it's this is how you do an A, B, and C story and mash them all together to make sense in the end.
So, not to go back to it because I know you don't want to think about it ever again, but I'm watching the trailer for Dark October.
Yeah.
You know what this is? It's like, I'm shot like they shot it at 30 frames a second, so it doesn't have a cinematic look to it. It looks like a TV show.
Yeah.
And it's just like this. It's got to be a like, got my friends together.
Oh, definitely.
Like,
yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna shit on the fact that they made a movie, but I will shit on the fact that the horror part of the movie comes in the last like 20 minutes and makes barely enough sense to be a passable kind of haunt thing monster at the end, because a lot of it is all just a bunch of them talking about going to Salem,
right?
And they're going to drive for 2.5 hours, and
on
they have
YouTube,
to go.
One of the actresses posted a thing that was basically like, "Hey, fuck all the haters." It was like this was done like on our free time. There was no budget, nobody got paid. We just did it because we wanted to do it.
Hey, more power to them that way, honestly. But if you're going to tell me that you're going to drive northeast, then don't show me your rear view mirror's compass that says southwest. No, but seriously, though, they put a movie together. They're not actors. To be fair, they are not actors, but they made a full movie. I can't recommend it.
Right. But I also don't understand then, too, when it's like, the makers of the film was a production company called Dark Shade Film, and like the director puts his name on in the trailer, and it's like the 4th film from David Malarkey or whatever his name is, and it's like okay, so you're leaning into it being garbage, but then you're like bragging about the fact that it's your 4th film, and so, you know what I mean? It's like it's like okay. And then being like, oh, well, just so you know, it was only $1,000 budget. And like, that's awesome. But maybe don't be like, hey, yo, this is Dave Malarkey's 4th film.
Yeah.
Like, it's a weird mixed signal. You know what I mean? No hate. I haven't seen it. I can't say that, but like, that just seems strange to me.
Yeah. It's an odd duck.
Especially when you can shoot on an iPhone in 24 frames a second, 4K. I don't know what they shot on, but it just looks like, it's got that.
I don't know. Maybe when it was exported, the settings were wrong.
That's even worse. You re-export it.
I know.
You put it on the wrong timeline or whatever. You dropped it on a 30-frame timeline. Anyway, all right.
I don't know if I told you on the last show, I watched Black Coat's Daughter.
You briefly mentioned it. You said you liked it, right?
I did. It's a nice slow one. It's got the girl from Sabrina in it, and I think she's a really great actress. Let's see, Black Mountainside, because it's Black Mountainside, and I really like that. And I went back with Rip, and we watched House of a Thousand Corpses, and honestly, that movie is not as shocking as it used to be. Not at all.
The things we've seen since then.
Yeah,
dude, we watched Martyr since then. Come on.
I know, huh? But it's I said to Rip, I'm like, all right, you've watched enough horror movies now to be able to watch this and see where he got all his inspiration from. And she's like, yeah. Like, all right, yeah, you
fair.
did.
It's fair.
And then I watched a one-off called Sarah Cooper, Everything's Fine, which is a fake news show with a bunch of stars in it, where she's it's comedy. I needed some comedy. So
oh, hey, shout out to Peter. Peter Haddock is in our YouTube chat room. I just
nice.
I don't like, everything is all screwed up for the stream, but I know Peter's been a fan and friend for quite a while, and he's saying that in the UK today that the US election was the main topic of conversation. It's been great to hear your views on politics and on COVID on the podcast these last few months. Well, thank you very much, Peter.
Nice.
It's good to see you, bud.
Nice.
I didn't watch...
just some normalcy, right?
Exactly.
That's all we want.
You know what I finally did was I finished watching the 2nd season of What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, good.
Yeah, good stuff. Really
Absolutely.
good stuff. That show was fucking brilliant. I love Guillermo.
Yeah.
I love Guillermo. I love how he still saves them, even though like they just don't fucking care like at all about him.
Oh,
We have to go
they
pick up
are
our own
the
dry cleaning.
worst. Yeah.
He kills like 30 vampires. We have to go pick up our own dry cleaning because you weren't here.
One of my favorite things that I honest to God thought I would hate, like absolutely hate. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be the death of the show right here, is Nadia's puppet.
Oh yeah.
That thing is hilarious. Yep. I love it. I love it. And I thought for sure, I'm like, oh, nope, they're getting too weird.
Nope. Well, because they don't overuse it. It only shows up when they need it to.
Right. And it's so sarcastic and mean.
Oh, I love it. My favorite thing though, in the 2 seasons that we've had with the What We Do in the Shadows crew. And if you guys haven't watched it, it's available. The first 2 seasons are available on Hulu, is Jackie Daytona.
Yeah, everybody loved him.
Oh man, Jackie Daytona. I love Matt Berry.
Yeah.
Introduced to him originally the first time I was probably the IT crowd. Or no. Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
Oh, okay.
Which is still one of my favorite things ever. I actually I need to go back and revisit that.
Yeah, that's fun.
That's not really available in a lot of places though. Like I don't think.
Oh no.
I don't think it's available to stream anywhere, as far as I know.
Huh.
But I always remember him when he comes in the IT crowd, when he like busts into the funeral and he's like, "Father!" He's wearing the white suit at the funeral and like.
Yep.
Yeah, the Jackie Daytona stuff. These girls worked so hard to get to States. And he's like, I don't get it. He's like, I'm a vampire from the 17th century, but I love girls volleyball. Awesome stuff.
And the best part about that episode too is Mark Hamill being the other vampire and just not even like guessing that he thought he was a real human, and when he gets surprised by the reveal, he's just so funny.
He's like I knew this day would come. Blue jeans and a toothpick. when he goes back and Nasha's there with him, he puts the toothpick and she's like, "Excuse me, sir, why are you here?" And then he's like takes it out and she's like, "Oh, Laszlo."
Yeah.
I'm Jackie Daytona.
If it wasn't for the Jackie Daytona episode, the trial ones would have been my favorite. The trial and then the stage show. For sure.
You should probably get your camera crew out of here because they are in big trouble.
Yeah, that's a fun show.
Nelson just checked to see if Garth Marenghi's Dark Place was streaming anywhere. He says, according to the Just Watch app, which is the same one I use, it isn't currently streaming anywhere. Which is fucking criminal. And the dude that was in that played Garth Marenghi was supposed to do this movie. Called what was it called? It's called like The Stabilizer or something. And it got announced, and it was like the team behind Garth Marenghi's Dark Places is going to do this movie. And I think Richard Ayoade was going to be in it, or he wasn't going to direct it, but he was going to be in it. And then it just never happened. It just disappeared.
Huh.
Weird. I do have a fan film that took all of, well, not a fan film, but a fan cut that took all of the Garth Marenghi's Dark Place stuff and made it into like one 90-minute movie.
Oh.
And it's really good. If I can find a copy of it, maybe we can do that on one of our Zoom nights.
That sounds good.
So, all right, we're getting low on time. I gotta get my kid to karate momentarily. Anything else you want to talk about before we sign out?
No.
All right then.
I mean, we're just standing on the edge of the knife, aren't we?
Yeah.
Waiting.
Yeah. So, looking at the TV, nothing has really changed. It does look like Biden has narrowed the gap in Pennsylvania, 52.8 to 46% now. It was 55 to 44 at one point.
Okay.
So 82%. So that's narrowing.
Yeah, but all we need for 270, if I'm looking at this right, is Nevada and Wisconsin.
Well, they've already called Wisconsin, right?
Yep.
And they have to officially call Arizona.
I think by tomorrow we'll have a projected winner.
Well, by tomorrow there'll be lots of lawsuits.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean shit. They can just get tossed out.
Right, that's true.
And by the time it gets tossed out, I mean, there's law written to allow counting of votes in most states up to a month after election day.
Oh yeah, it doesn't have to be finalized in a lot of places till like the beginning of December.
Yeah, so this is just a frivolous lawsuit that he's doing to distract. And if he really thought he was going to win, he wouldn't be doing this.
Well, that's why the timing of everything was so interesting. Everything was silent until you started to see those big leads that he had in those states start to erode. And then he stepped out in front of the cameras, claimed victory, and then now he's using the like, oh, hey, I had these leads and they're just magically disappearing. It's like, no, they're not magically disappearing. When there's an election, you have to count the votes.
Yeah, maybe he's too old to have grown up on Sesame Street, but somebody should introduce him to that purple vampire. And he could teach him. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Dave in the chat room says, if looking at the way he's looking at it, that Biden should hit 270.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think we're out of the woods yet. We're not out of the woods yet.
Barely.
Kids. Just
no, because McConnell got back in. So,
and it doesn't look like the Senate's going to flip.
No, but
it's close.
If the Republicans only control 2 out of the 3, then that's better than 1 out of the 3.
It is. So hey, thank you guys
Democrats,
for hanging out.
Republicans, whatever.
Yeah, thank you guys for hanging out and putting up with our kind of crazy stream today. It worked out weird.
Yeah.
So it looked like we lost Twitch for a little while. I don't know if I'll be able to get an audio version of this out to everybody. But if you are not a member of the Patreon, please, if you could, go to patreon.com/outsidethecinema, sign up for the monthly Patreon. $5 monthly donation will get you access to our show archives, which has thousands of hours of movie reviews, talks, all that stuff, all there. Anything Outside the Cinema has ever done is in that archive. Also, as we said earlier on in the first part of the broadcast, we're going to be doing movie nights exclusively through Zoom. So they won't be like public ones. They're only going to be for members of the Patreon community that we have. So if you've been a supporter of the show, thank you very much. Your continued support keeps the show alive. And also, if you want to follow us in any of the other social media places, my main gig is Instagram at OTC Bill. Chris is at Cthulhu. We do use Facebook a bit. So if you heard my thing earlier, I try to cover everything, but like, if you want to talk to me about stuff, Instagram's the place to hit me up. So, do I still have that funny stinger that I can play before we go off the air? Do I have it? There it is. We'll see you guys next week.